WCW NWO Revenge is easily one of the best wrestling games of all time, and here's why. Because you can kick some serious ass in this game, that's why. I legitimately have so many good memories with this game growing up, whether it was with my brother, my sister, my parents, or just playing by myself. I legitimately logged so many hours on this game as a kid, and I loved every single minute of it. I would guarantee that I played as every wrestler on this game, and I probably used to know every single one of their special moves. I literally was obsessed with this game to the degree that I had all the championships. I knew every character's name just by looking at them. I didn't need to see it on the list or anything. I just knew it. And I wasn't even that into like actual wrestling on television. Just the video games were so much fun. And I could genuinely go on for hours about them, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna give a brief rundown on this, one of my absolute most favorite games of all time. So let's break it down. One of the very first things you're going to learn as soon as you fire up WCW NWO Revenge is how to fucking rock, because this game has an absolute unit of a soundtrack. The soundtrack on this is one of the best ever, in my opinion. That heavy guitar music that they play in the very opening of the game. I used to sit when I was a kid, I would watch the opening to this game, that little scene where Sting's standing in the fucking middle of the road and stops the guy with the truck, because I wanted to hear that song over and over and over again. And if I hear that song anywhere, like, I may get goosebumps just because there's so many memories involved with this game, you know, that are such an integral part of my childhood. There are other great songs in this game as well, however, the one that sticks out in my head the most is the one that's playing right now. Overall though, if I could buy a CD of the soundtrack from this game, I 100% would, and I would listen to it on repeat all the time because I love it that much. Moving past that, the roster in this game is fucking huge. There were so many actual wrestlers from, you know, the wrestling you would watch on television, and then on top of that, they created some wrestlers just for this game. Like, they made up a few and stuck them in there, and they're all so cool. Like this guy here, Dr. Frank, I absolutely love him. He was one of my favorite as a kid. My favorite wrestler overall is Canyon and his alternate costume, Mortis. I could use them pretty much anytime. They're just my go-to guys. There's another guy that I like to use, Dake Ken. He looks funny, he wears like a pink shirt, but he can go to the crowd and pull a mallet out of the crowd, which is super cool. And so he's just pounding on people with his giant fucking hammer. The weapons in this game are a little bit overpowered though, because if you had good timing, you could kind of make it so your opponent could never even stand up, but that didn't really matter. That was just good for making your siblings really angry, and that just made the game a lot more fun, so I forgive it for that. There were all sorts of different game modes on here. You could do championships, you could do exhibition, tag team, or one-on-one matches. If that wasn't your jam, you could do special matches where it was a handicap, 2-on-1, or you could do like a 40-man elimination match where if you knock them out of the ring, they're eliminated, or you can make it so that you actually have to pin or submit each one of them. There are countless ways you can change the rules to make the match whatever you want it to be. When I was a kid, my siblings and I would play the 40-man elimination match over and over and over again. Those were really cool because it didn't matter if you were the first guy out, you took control of the next wrestler to come in until you were out of wrestlers. So it was really fun to be able to just move from one to the next, even if they weren't your first choice, and you could still win if you lost your original person. So it really didn't make too big of a difference. You still got to have fun. If you were playing this game with your friends, it was even more fun because people typically like their friends more than their siblings. Granted, my brother's cool, but it didn't really make too much of a difference. It was still just so much fun. I mean, the social aspect of these wrestling games from the Nintendo 64 era easily put them ahead of almost any other game. And it's not that it's like, oh, they're the greatest game of all time, but as far as like socializing and party games go, they are up there. I genuinely believe that WCW NWO Revenge is one of the greatest wrestling games, if not one of the greatest games of all time.